All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm joined here with Alec Pantaleo. Alec, how are you doing today, man?
Better than I deserve. Better than I deserve.
I love that. So Alec is a former Division One All-American in wrestling, professional wrestler, uh, Nike athlete, all-around great guy, and we're super happy to have you here to talk to.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here, man. It's an honor.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So, that's kind of the short and sweet of your experience, your background, but do you mind kind of diving in to who you are, what you do, all that good stuff?
Right. Yeah, I mean, many people that know me, they know me as that wrestler from the park. you know, a little bit about me. I mean, I grew up from a family of wrestlers. My dad and my uncles and my cousins were all stellar wrestlers in their own outright. And then I kind of jumped into it at a young age. And then I went to Canton High School. Me and my buddy Ben Griffin ended up being Michigan State champs there. And then
Yeah.
by kind of like luck, I got into U of M and I started as a true freshman. And then I ended up being a three-time All-American there and placing third in the nation my senior year. And then now, I've been out of school for 2 years now, and now I actually wrestle full time as a professional athlete with Cliff Keen Wrestling Club, and I'm a Nike sponsored athlete. So basically, my job, what I get paid to do, is to try to be the best wrestler in the world. So it's to say I'm doing better than I deserve is what I mean. I mean, I'm literally getting paid to chase my dream. So, I mean, that's just a little bit about what's up with me right now.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. And like, I just think back to, just thinking back to high school, that's been, geez, what, like eight, 8 years ago, probably like 8, 9 years ago at this point. And like, ever since I've known you, like, you've been one of like the hardest working people, chasing after your goals and to kind of see your journey throughout high school, college, and now professionally. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm a firm believer in a man understanding his why and having a
Hmm.
purpose in life, something to chase after. You see a lot of people right now are lost in life, not
Yeah.
really sure what to do. And thankfully, I've had some great mentors and great friends. And my goal, my vision of what I wanted to accomplish has always been very clear. So it's kind of been a lot of luck and a lot of right decision making that's got me to where I am at right now.
Definitely. And now, like, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what is your why or what is your goals, right? What
Right.
are your goals right now?
No, I mean, I look at myself and I have a set of skills that you just don't see in a lot of people. And for me to not be anything but like a world champion wrestler
Yeah.
is for me to sacrifice my gift, And by no means am I walking around a world champion right now, but
Hmm.
um, I've just over these years I kept on progressively getting better and better, and I still am. And by the time I walk away from this sport, maybe be an injury this year or a few years down the road, I plan to have accomplished, at least some world medals around my neck at these big tournaments.
Definitely. And this year you were in a big tournament like over in Europe, right?
Right. So I've actually made Team USA age group wise a couple of times in the past. I was
Right.
on the 18 and under world team, and then the 23 and under world team, and I actually lost to some really good guys. One guy from Azerbaijan, one guy from India. Like second round, it was just a tough tournament. But
Yeah.
I started looking at those matches, and I'd be losing on like criteria, losing just by a point, and I made some
Hmm.
changes. And this past year, I went down to Cuba and won that tournament. And then just recently, I was in Italy and I wrestled a two-time Olympian and former world um, finalist, and I beat him twice. And so, thankfully, it's just me making these little changes from the
Yeah,
past. It looks like it's working out, so I'm trying to keep this going.
definitely. That's awesome. And now, Alec, you mentioned, wrestling's in the family, it's in the blood. Would you say, to get to where you've gotten, has that been just kind of like natural God-given talent, or like have you had to just like work nonstop? I know you work like crazy
Right.
to get to where you are, but like, do you think it's a combination of both, or do you just have that natural ability when it comes to wrestling?
I'm very blessed with a set of gifts as far as I'm very explosive.
Hmm.
Not to toot my horn, I'm pretty strong. And I have a good spatial awareness. I can control my body pretty well. That said, none of that. I wasn't born like with that in a superior sense. I had to work on it.
Right.
I spent I remember back in high school, I had friends Friday nights, Saturday nights going out and partying. I'd be in like a
Yeah.
gymnasium practicing my backflips and practicing flexibility and stuff like that. And I did. I go to the gym. I'm on a very rigorous lifting schedule, and it's not easy, But that's why
Right.
I think was the separating between what I was in the past and what I am now is staying consistent in your training and keep honing on your skills.
Definitely. And I love the consistency aspect of it. You have to keep working at it and, not get complacent. And I think, a concept that I like to talk about is like getting 1% better each day. That one extra rep in the gym, that one extra minute, you know, running or whatever you have to do for your training. Like it's just that continual growth is what gets you there.
Right. Well, Zach, actually, I want to bring up that question, a question for you then.
Yeah.
I actually just saw something interesting other day. It said, "What got you here won't get you there," and I started thinking about that. Um, my question to you is: do you think, to a point, you have to change up what you're doing, or do you think you should always stay a path that you think is going to end up where you need it to be? Like, did I phrase that
That's
correctly? Or
yeah, you did. And that's a good question. I think that, you know, it's tough because part of me says you always want to stick to your guns, but at the same time, we live in a world where things are changing. And I mean, even without being too familiar with wrestling, I'm sure there's a lot of analytics out there where technology gets better and there's more information out there on how to get better at wrestling and how to prepare for your matchups. So it's like if you stick to what you've always done, you might be missing out on, key things that can get you to that next level. So I think it's kind of like, you know, ride it till the wheels fall off, but know that they probably will fall off at some point, and that's when you have to adapt. And I think adaptability is a huge skill that helps you get to the next level in anything you do.
right, I love that, Zach. That's huge. We saw in
Yeah.
past this past year. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, their lives were extremely disrupted between their
Yep.
schedules and just availability to go out and do things. I've seen a lot of great people, though. They adapt and they made the best of their training, the best of their financial situations, and they're doing really, really well right now. So I
Exactly.
piggybacking off that, man, I fully agree. Adapting is exceptionally important.
Definitely. Definitely for sure. And I mean, do you think like just from your experience so far in your career, have you had a lot of moments where you have had to adapt, or would you say like this training you're doing now is pretty close to what you've done even back in high school?
Right. So, I mean, I guess we'll say on the terms of wrestling here, just so going back to what I said, I used to spend those days lifting, and going to the
Mm-hmm.
gym, doing aerial awareness, stuff like that. So that was in high school. That was the separating factor. I was just more athletic than when I wrestled. And when I
Yeah.
got to college, everyone there is good. They're big recruits, and you see that technique start coming into play. And I lacked in that technique, and I had to go back and I had to revisit things that I neglected in the past, kind of starting from square one. So,
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So from my end, I think it's really important that you have to understand that maybe what got you here won't get you there. And even now, when I'm
Yeah.
on the senior circuit here, I told you I made a few world teams, but I didn't have the success I needed. And this past year,
Right.
especially, I started really focusing in on learning the technique. I bring it like a journal every day to practice, write down what went well, what didn't go well, what do I need to work on, what did I like, you know, what I think was good but can still be better. And I think
Yeah.
that made a huge difference for me this past year. And I'm going to keep doing this moving forward.
I love that. That's a phenomenal thing. Just having that journal to kind of keep that pulse, keep the finger on the pulse and know, what you're doing well, what you need to work on, and just kind of be in that constant state of evaluation.
Yeah. You're your own worst critic, So if you don't know,
You are,
if
yeah.
you don't know what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right, then, don't expect someone else to tell you.
Exactly. Definitely. And now I know you mentioned like the journal with that's what you do when you go train and with everything wrestling related. Do you do anything like that in your personal life or, how much does your mindset on the mat, you know, impact your mindset just in
Right.
life?
I'm a very competitive person, and I'm also very stingy with my time. Um, so I do spend a lot of time with myself, by myself, talking to myself. So I don't
Okay.
like journal, but I do have a lot of conversation with myself. Asking what
Okay.
I need to do, what did I do great today, every night before I go to bed. I ask myself, I'm like, was I happy with today's performance? Did I do something
Yeah.
to be a superior person than I was yesterday? Usually every day I'm riding that wave pretty well, you know.
Yeah.
But I
Definitely.
mean, writing it down, yeah, it might be a good idea, but at the same time, I feel like I personally don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that. And I think we all have our own different systems. And I think what you said, just, at the end of the day, even just talking to yourself, like, what happened today? What did I like? What didn't I like? Did I accomplish my goals? Did I get better? Just like having that conversation with yourself is super
You know what,
beneficial.
Zach? One thing too, I don't know if you've heard about the book. It's called Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. You heard
Yeah.
about it?
Yep.
I haven't read it yet. I'm looking forward to it. But one thing I noticed, or I heard him say in a podcast, one thing he did is he says he writes down every day what he
Yeah.
does. I mean, from everything. From today, I successfully drank a cup of coffee. I successfully went to the bathroom. Like, he writes down a
Right.
list of things he does, and I guess that's how he keeps track of how successful he was in the day, just having a huge list of little victories throughout the day.
Exactly. And I think that that's a great point. Like just little victories. Like I think so many of us get caught up in like trying to chase big things and like that's great and it's good to accomplish big things, but if you know, go through a day and do a lot of small things, but you didn't get that one big thing done and you look at, that day as a loss or a fail, I think that just you have to change that mindset and realize all the wins you had
Right?
too.
Yeah, man. Just be present. Take care of every
Yeah,
minute, and then the hours will take care of themselves.
definitely. Is there anything that you do that helps you stay present?
I'd say I drink a lot of coffee. No, no. There's many times I do go. I'm kind of anonymous. That's the right word. Autonomous. So I kind of go throughout the day on like autopilot. Is what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
But there are
Yeah.
some times when I'll catch myself in the middle of practice and I'll start thinking about, oh, what am I having for dinner, or I'll catch myself,
Yeah.
you know, heading into a workout, think about other things, and I'm pretty good at checking myself and putting myself back on a you know the right schedule to understand what I'm about to do. Right. So if I'm leading to the gym
Right.
and I'm thinking about God knows what, I tell myself, I'm like, Alec, dude, you got to go to the gym. You have 2 hours to attack this workout, and that's it. You have the rest of the day to think about this.
Yeah.
Um, but
Okay.
again, I'm a very critical person on myself. I don't expect a lot of other people to do that kind of stuff, but again, it works for me.
Right. Definitely. And I mean, like you said earlier, we're our own worst critics. And I know just from knowing you on a personal level, like I know how hard you are on yourself, but that's what makes you who you are and what's also led you inevitably to the success you've
Well,
had.
Zach, there's something very gratifying and very just fulfilling about doing hard things that you don't want to do.
Yeah,
And
there is.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go through a hard workout every day. Even on days I'm feeling sore. But again, laying in bed at night, I ask myself, I'm like, did I win the day? Was I superior to myself?
Yeah.
And most of the times, I don't leave life up to fate. I take control of my own fate, and that's just me
Yeah.
personally. And it's got me where I am today. I'm a very happy person. I like my life, and I think I'm gonna keep doing this.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's working. So keep riding the
Yeah.
wave,
Thanks, man.
of course. So, it's, there's a lot of people in the world who maybe grew up playing a sport, they play high school, awesome, then it starts to get smaller and smaller, like from there less people play in college, less people make it to the professional level. Was the transition for you ever like a difficult or like a jarring adjustment, or was it pretty much just like, all right, time to level up and just kind of keep going until you get to the
Right. So let's
top?
talk about that transition. I mean, for sports, especially for wrestling, less than 1% of everyone who wrestles in high school or in youth wrestling transition into college
Hmm.
wrestling, and especially a D1 program.
Oh
Less than
wow.
1%.
Yeah.
It's very few people. I
Wow.
mean, our roster at U of M was 32 guys, right?
Hmm.
And to be honest, Zach, I got in off of just luck. I mean, I was a one-time state champ. I lost a lot of my seasons to injury. I broke my hand in high school.
Right.
But anyways, the guy who was recruited over me, he made some bad decisions and he couldn't get into the school, and I kind of got a lucky chance to get in, and I made the best of it. Man, I started as a true freshman, like I said. But that transition
Yeah.
happened because I had a bunch of great mentors in my ear helping me along. From my uncle who wrestled in Michigan, from my coaches who saw that I was gifted athletically and that if they can teach me some wrestling, then maybe I can do something special. Um,
Yeah.
my family, my friends, everyone, they all supported me. And,
Yep.
again, my life's easy, man. To have all that behind me supporting me, there's no reason I shouldn't have been successful. So that was my transition.
Yeah.
But I'm at that same point now where I'm on the senior circuit here, training to make an Olympic team and a world championship team. And these guys, man, I mean, everyone's a national champ. Everyone is a multiple time,
Yeah.
world team member, and you've got to beat these guys. So I'm still working on that transition right now, which is why I said I've changed my strategy towards training, towards learning the sport more than just
Yeah.
doing the super hard stuff, but understanding the sport, understanding wrestling, understanding that it's kind of like a ballet of knowing what to do. If one guy does this, you do that. You don't think about I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, then we'll figure it out later. It's understanding how the wrestling unfolds throughout a match, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. I mean, it's a dance, right? Like it's a dance, and you want to, anticipate what your dance partner is going to
Right.
do, right?
Exactly. And that's the best you see. I mean, in football and any other kind of team sport, like having a chemistry of
Yeah.
understanding what's happening, like
Hmm.
and that's where I'm at now. I'm starting to understand now. If I do this guy does that, or if he does that, I'm going to do this. Before, in
Right.
other sports, you would just do things, and then if it didn't work, well, we'll try again later. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, that's transition I'm making. Is just understanding how it all unfolds and manipulating it to work for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And it sounds like it's working in your favor. And I know you'll continue to work hard at it. And I have no doubt, it's going to continue to give you that success
Yeah, I
too.
hope, man. Success isn't promised. You can only just work for it. So I hope.
That's true. Yeah. And, that's the thing that it leads me to something that I've always really respected and appreciated about you since the day that, I met you years ago in high school. You're super driven, hardworking. You've had, some good success, whether it's in high school, being an All-American in college at U of M, professionally, right now, you've always been really grounded and humble, and you're very confident in your skills, but you're not out here just saying like, oh yeah, like I'm, the best in the world, right? Like you have that humbleness to
Well,
yourself.
again, that just I appreciate that first of all, but that just reflects back to
Yeah.
my friends, my family, my mentors I'm around. And especially a sport like wrestling, like winning the Olympics is like the pinnacle, or winning a world championships is the pinnacle. There's no like, you could say I'm a pro athlete, but there's not a lot of money in the sport. There's not a huge amount of fame.
Hmm.
People don't really follow wrestling, so we do this strictly because we like to embrace hard things. We like to do things that other
Yeah.
people just don't. We're a bunch of kind of sadistic psychopaths. If you really think about it, you know. So I mean, for me
Yeah.
to act all pompous and act like I'm better than someone, it doesn't. I mean, at what? At wrestling? That's it. you know, there's
Yeah.
more to life than just sport, and I thankfully I've learned that. I'm 24 years old, and I've learned that at a young age, and I'm hopefully going to carry this through. So
Definitely. Awesome. I love that. And I talk a lot about passions with people on this podcast, and you're obviously passionate about wrestling, but it's very easy to identify ourselves as like what we do. But I mean, other outside of wrestling, what gets Alec excited? What other passions do you have? Whether it's things to do or just read or
I'm glad
mindset,
you asked me
whatever.
that, man, because I was going to say earlier, even though I'm a wrestler, I like people who really know me know that there's more to me than just wrestling.
Oh yeah,
I've got a
definitely.
lot of different passions that I have a lot of fun with. So from as far as like I love hands-on things. I love building things and trying my hand at learning new skills. I'm a big motorcycle guy, big car guy.
Yep.
Just adrenaline junkie in general. So I like to go out and have a good time. I'm not the kind of guy to go like party super hard, but I do enjoy spending time
Right.
with quality friends. And me personally, I get a lot of gratification, or not a lot of. I get very happy when I like to to build things or make something, and then I get to see the finished product, if that makes sense. So even like
Yeah.
going on a hike and getting to the top of a mountain, looking down, that's very fulfilling to
Okay.
me, opposed to just like
Yeah.
I enjoy the process, but I like doing things where like you can win it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It goes back to
Right.
that competitiveness. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I've seen, countless pictures of, motorcycles and cars and stuff. So I know that's a big thing
Right.
for
Yeah,
you.
just opportunities, having
Yeah.
you're on this planet for however long you're lucky to be, so I'm
Yeah.
just a man of trying to chase opportunity and doing stuff that just, regular people don't.
Definitely. And I mean, I think that's something you've really hit home here that, you're all about finding opportunity even when opportunity isn't presenting itself and seizing the day, making the most out of everything that comes your way. To anyone that's listening that might maybe struggle with that or, has a hard time finding that motivation or drive, like, is there any advice that you have or anything that you would tell
Well,
someone like
one thing
that?
I would say is, a lot of people have a hard time, they don't really know what they like doing in their off time. Some people just like they stick to social media,
Yeah.
things like that. One thing I would
Hmm.
say is your hobbies and your things you like, you have to stumble upon yourself. They don't come to you, So me, for example, I've tried my hand at countless different things, and I've started to narrow
Yeah.
down what I really enjoy most, you know. So yeah, for example, motorcycle, right? You brought that up. I'm a huge motorcycle
Yeah.
guy, and I've gone my whole life. My parents telling me I
Yeah.
can't own a motorcycle, you know. And I finally, I my first bike I bought was just a piece of crap and needed a bunch of work. Barely ran, but from there
Yeah.
I learned to start working on them and fix them up a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, I like how this has that. And then I got a different bike that had that. And then I'm like, what can I change now again? And then Zach, over these past 2 years, I've had countless bikes. I've had basically every kind of motorcycle I've wanted, And then brought it to, okay,
Yeah.
how else can I keep pushing the boundary? And now I took him to the racetrack, and that's a whole different kind of
Okay.
beast, is understanding that.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying is, like, I went from not being able to have a bike to being racing on the racetrack, just from you have to
Right.
keep figuring it out. What do you like doing more? What do you like doing more? And that's what I'll say to someone else is you got to go test those waters. You got to see what you like to do.
Definitely, that's so important because you never know what you're going to like or, fall in love with doing. And I think it's kind of funny that you said, you grew up being told, you're never going to get a bike, you can't get one. And now that's one of your
Right,
biggest
exactly.
passions.
It's like with school too. I mean, this is like a simile you could
Yeah.
make is people certain subjects in school just resonate with people more than other ones. I
Hmm.
for example, I love learning about history, about stupid things that we did
Okay.
as people, and learning from those mistakes. But math, no way.
Yeah.
That was not my thing. So I mean, you have to find the thing
Right.
you're interested in, your subject, and spend time. Start learning more about it and more about it, and that's another thing I pride myself in is I like to know little things that people don't know about, and then bring up in a conversation. They're like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." you know, you just spend time. You read the little fun facts and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it kind of goes back to what you've been saying. Like, we're on this earth for a certain amount of time. Like, we have to make the most of it, learn as much as we can, be curious with what we do, learn what we want to do, because unless you get out there and try these things or learn these things, you're never going to know. And you're just going to sit there and kind of waste the days away
Again, it comes
almost.
down to you. You have to step outside your comfort zone. Again, there's something very,
Yeah.
very fulfilling, gratifying about doing things that are difficult. So whether it is maybe you want to learn how to code, maybe you have to go sit down and start teaching yourself how to do some coding, watch YouTube videos, or maybe you want to learn how to sew. That's one thing I picked up during quarantine. Man, I became like a master, like sewer. I can sew everything now. I bought a sewing machine and I just started
Really?
learning
Okay.
new skills. Yeah, so things like that,
That's
and
awesome.
it's like again, my parents like, why do you know that? I'm like, well, why not? You know, um,
Yeah.
is it a huge passion of mine? No, but now I know at least. you know.
Yeah. I love that though. Like, why do you know
Right.
that? Why not? You know, like there's so many resources out there. You mentioned YouTube videos. There's literally YouTube videos for anything. You're like Google, like just look up anything. And I truly am a believer. We can learn to do anything we want if we put in the time because the resources are there
Right.
if you look
Yeah.
hard enough.
And that's another thing too is, just during this quarantine, I started looking into,
Hmm.
even like small businesses. So I've been on Etsy a lot, and I started to appreciate some of the craftsmanship these people do of stuff that I've tried. Like, I mean, I tried doing a little bit of like leather craft work to make a wallet. Didn't work at all, but like these Etsy like sellers and all that,
Yeah.
like I appreciate that they go through the ringer and they teach themselves these skills that kind of they're inimitable skills. They're doing the best of anyone else out there,
Yeah.
and so you got to give respect to where it's due, and that's my personal
Definitely.
viewpoint on it.
No, I completely agree. And, I think we've talked a lot today about, your career in wrestling and being a, professional wrestler. And, that's awesome. You're clearly passionate about it. I love watching you and supporting you throughout the years. But at the end of the day, like if, leather
It's
making is your
not.
passion, go after it. If your passion is, to anyone listening, like it doesn't matter what your passion is. Like it doesn't have to be a professional sport. It doesn't have to be like something mainstream. Like if you love doing something, who cares? Just do it, right? Like just try to be the best at it. People will
Right.
appreciate you
Yeah,
for
and
it.
again, your passion's always subject to change. I'm 24 years
Yeah.
old right now, and they've changed numerous times. I from back in the day, it was solely just wrestling, and now it is that like wrestling, and like trying to represent the country is my main passion because that's what I'm best
Yeah.
at. But there's different
Hmm.
like facets I can follow, and in a few years from now, when I'm done wrestling, I'm gonna have to revisit it again and see what am I else passionate about as far as occupation or things like that. So
Yeah.
I think you just always have to be questioning, like what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then what else can you do?
Yeah, definitely have that curious mind and just keep those thoughts in the back of the mind because you never know. And, God forbid for your situation, but like you kind of said earlier, an injury could happen and your
Of
life could change
course.
in the blink of an eye, right? Like again, God forbid that happens, but same with any of us, we don't have to be a professional athlete to have some pivotal moment happen that changes the course of your life. So kind of stay flexible, stay fluid and, keep those interests
The
alive
only
and
thing
kind of
that you must do is not be doing nothing.
the only thing you must be doing is
Yes, yeah, I
not
think I
doing
said that
nothing.
right.
Is that it?
Basically, you gotta be doing
Okay.
something. I see too many
I
people that
love
sit at
that.
home saying they're bored. There is way too much going on in this world for you to be bored. You know, so
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, Alec, I love following your journey. To anyone out there, do you have any, social media that you want to drop or anything where people can follow
yeah.
you
I mean,
or,
I
connect
still
with you?
again I still talk to my old friends from high school and even from middle school and elementary school from back in the day. So oh, sorry about that phone in the background. But yeah, I mean, so most people that
That's okay.
that know me, they still know me by the same like social media, just Alec Pantaleo. I don't really go on. I kind of try to lay off social media as more than I have in the past, just because I feel like it's you can get caught up in following a tail pursuit.
Yeah, for
We live
sure.
in a very competitive society, so it's kind of tough. Um,
We do.
but yeah, man, anytime anyone needs any kind of at least my viewpoint on a journey or they're taking, and if I can help them, I'm all for
Yeah.
paying forward. So
Awesome, man. Really appreciate that. So I'll put that all in the description and everything if anyone wants to connect with Alec or watch the wrestling journey unfold. Um, any kind of last words or thoughts that you want to
no,
leave
man,
the
I just
listeners
hope
with today,
everyone's
Alec?
again, like I said, staying positive, testing negative, doing their part to change this world in a positive way, and I appreciate you doing that. Taking your time to talk to me. I'm just again, we're both kids from just Canton, Michigan here, trying to make it.
Yeah.
So it's people helping people, man.
Definitely. And, I know you're a busy guy. You have a lot going on. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk today. And, I have no doubt, man, you're just going to keep getting better each and every day, chasing those goals. I know our country's in good hands when it comes to the wrestling scene with you. And I'm excited to just see the future success you have, man. And even outside of the world of wrestling, I know you're going to be doing some big things and positive influences
Yeah,
and
man. Thanks,
changes
Zach. I
in the
really do
world.
appreciate that.
Of course, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate your
Yep. See you
time, and
guys.
we'll talk
Bye.
to you later, man.